Here he comes.
Confronting Yang's morning looks like thousands of other people's in the South Bay, leaving his ranch-style home in Mountain View, hopping in the family minivan, and driving to his tech job at Google.
I'll tell you which direction he's heading towards.
We spent weeks watching Yang drive from what property records show is his home to his work at Google.
It looks like he's going to work.
We focused on Yang because state corporation records list his home address also as the headquarters of a tech company called Cloud Particle. And U.S. Homeland Security records show Cloud Particle employed more than 300 foreign students with F-1 visas in 2017. The F-1 visa's optional practical training and STEM programs allow students to work in the U.S. for up to 3 years in a field related to their studies. But we couldn't find any trace of the company online or any business office other than that Mountain View home. I'm Stephen Stockton, NBC Bay Area. We've been trying to get you for months. After he didn't respond to our calls and emails asking how he employs hundreds of foreign students out of his Mountain View home, we decided to wait for Yang outside the office where he works. Can we talk to you about Cloud Particle? What is Cloud Particle? It's listed as your home address. Why is it listed as your home address? Yang suggested we talk someplace else, and we readily agreed.
Can we find a different place to meet?
I'd be glad to.
No, I don't want to do anything.
We'll be glad to talk to you. Take my card.
No, I don't want to take your card.
We'll come back to Yang in a minute, because our research found that Cloud Particle is not the only questionable company that reports employing hundreds of foreign students on F-1 visas. We uncovered at least 13 other suspicious companies like Cloud Particle, each with unreachable corporate officers and an F-1 workforce comprised of 99% Chinese nationals.
No answering machine.
We tried looking for their offices. We found this address and found single-family homes, luxury condos, shared workspaces where staff couldn't verify the company's presence.
What are you doing to ensure that there aren't bad actors taking advantage of the F-1 visa program?
We have a multi-pronged approach to enforcement.
Rachel Canty is director of the Student Exchange Visitor Program overseeing F-1 visas in Washington, D.C.
We do data analytics, we have technology, we do a lot of vetting tools. So there's a lot of things we do behind the scenes.
The abuse is a very small part of this program.
UC Davis professor Giovanni Perry chairs the economics department there. He acknowledges there are security vulnerabilities with the program, but he says, and our data confirms, that the number of students listed as working for suspicious companies make up a small fraction of the total F-1 students, and he points out there are many benefits for students, universities, and U.S. companies.
In some research that I have done, I show that almost half of the growth in productivity in the last 20 years can be attributed to just foreigners.
But even while touting its benefits, supporters of the F-1 program admit being troubled when we share the list of 13 questionable companies we found, along with Cloud Particle.
So here's the list of the 13 companies. How is it possible we found them, but you didn't?
Because they're on the list does not mean that we did not find them. It means that we may be actively looking at them right now.
Could this be a security risk to national security?
Anytime you have people in the United States that are doing something other than what they've told us they're doing, there's always a risk. But that is why we look at the companies very carefully. That's why we do data analytics, and that's why we do investigations.
Another example, Telon Trading, based in Georgia. Back in 2017, according to the DHS, Telon had almost 900 F-1 visa workers. In 2018, it had 647. But those F-1 students may have been working for a company that didn't exist, because state corporation records show the business dissolved in 2016. We traced Telon's CEO to an address outside L.A. for a new company called AFC Trading.
Not here.
The corporate address is a condo with a family living inside. They told us they had not seen the CEO in months.
This is clearly a problem area.
Senator Mark Warner of Virginia is ranking member on the Select Committee on Intelligence. He believes we've exposed a loophole that is a risk to national security.
Many of these shell companies, we don't have any ability to pierce that veil. We need that information, not just in terms of the F-1 visa program, but candidly against potential terrorist financing, crime, other national security threats as well.
Which brings us back to Confronting Yang's home in Mountain View. Remember, he promised to talk to us while we were standing in a parking lot at his other workplace. Why did you have F-1 visa workers? Where do you want to meet? Yang would not answer. or even give us a time or place to meet.
Did you employ F1 visa workers? Did they pay you?
No, sorry, I think you're too aggressive.
Instead, he got in his car and drove away, and we never heard from him again. We reached out to the people listed as company officials in all the other businesses that we've talked about, and they never got back to us. We also asked Google several times for comment about Zhangfang Yang's job there. They never returned our phone calls or emails. Federal sources tell me they're now checking out Yang's Mountain View address and his company. ICE officials tell me in some cases their hands are tied by current law because while they can make inspection visits at universities and some employers, they can't do it with every company. Current rules prevent them from doing just what we did, showing up and knocking on company doors unannounced. That's a loophole Senator Warner once closed. I'm Stephen Stock, NBC Bay Area News.